What is up, Chicago Bears? What are we up to today? I am not Brian, and I am not Tank. Um, so if you're new to the channel, you haven't been here for a while, or you've been tuning on Tuesdays because you want to see your Bears, or haven't seen Wednesdays. My name is Martin. I talk about all 32 teams, not just the Bears, but I know we've have Brian and Tank talk about Bears all the freaking time. So I just wanted to give you my perspective on what I think may or may not happen. We're gonna go over the roster, the breakdowns. If you haven't watched any football and you've been in a cave for the past 2 years, not to worry. We're gonna catch up on the Bears right here, right now. So what is up? How are you guys doing? Welcome in, welcome in. Born to the grind begins. Yes, it is. This is episode 1 of 32 every single day. And tomorrow we're doing Washington. And then we're gonna continue doing every single team until probably July actually. So there will be episodes in between. Why? Because we have our Sundays and we have our Wednesday episodes. Those are like outside the normal. These shows are going to be outside the norm. So if you guys want to look, this is what we're going to be doing. Or at least I'm going to be doing. At least this is my schedule for now. If we change, I will let you guys know if I get sick or something. Hopefully I don't. Or because the military called me away. If you notice some of those, they have gaps in between. It's because either I decide to take a scheduled day break off because I will get burnt out doing these. But basically, I'm dedicating a whole episode to these teams. So yeah, that's what we'll be doing. But today we're gonna do in the Bears. Now I think, and I did tell the guys if they want to jump in on the episodes they can. Just don't bother me at the beginning because I need to give out my perspective before we actually start doing. Um, before they jump in and defend their teams. I get it. I if I say something bad about them, they got to protect their teams. I get it. So if you're in here, we'll talk about dynasty trades if you want to. We'll flutter that in here as well. But again, the Bears last year didn't do so hot, right? It was another one of those weird seasons. They still had Justin Fields. Everything was like it was a crappy line. Everything was detrimental. The defense actually did pretty good. That's one thing you guys have been pretty decent on. You guys did finish towards the bottom at 7-10. It sucks. Bit disappointing because you guys had better years in the past. Barely making playoffs. I think was it 2-3 years ago, and or actually 2021, I believe, because 2022 sucked major. Because I remember that you guys, it's the 7-10 record was still a better record than the year before, which was 3-14. So you guys have been part of the top picks, this entire time. Would y'all trade Lamar and Saquon for T-Lon Bijan? Let me think about that real quick. But I don't think I would. I like the Bees like trading for Bijan, but Lamar, no. I can't. I'm not getting rid of Lamar for T-Law. I know T-Law's supposed to be this high prospect. I have to see. No, my final answer is just no. No. Running back's lifespan isn't long enough to keep a running back that long. 4 or 5 year span, maybe if that, maybe 2 years after this contract is done. We don't know if Bijan's going to be there or if he's going to be just torn to shreds because they use him in the next couple of years. So no, I'm going to keep Lamar. He's still going to be there for quite some time. He's still going to be better than T-Law, and his numbers might be better than both T-Law and Bijan combined. So yeah, I'm not doing it. So anyways, so after trading away the number 1 draft pick, right, last season, the Bears, they still opted at the top spot in 2024. Somehow, some way, they still got it. Why? Thank you, North Carolina, or thank you, Carolina Panthers, for doing that. They sucked and still got them the number 1 pick because of, the selection of how they made that trade a few years ago with New York, and then also with Chicago, and the whole Fields art era for the past couple years, which still got them at the top spot. Ideally, now we went through a couple of months of not knowing what the hell was going to happen because it was nothing but Fields this, Fields that, Fields this, Fields going, this team's interested, Field, this team's interested, Field, this. It was annoying as hell. And I get it. They finally did it. They finally made the trade. And, it got quiet for about good 2-3 weeks, right? Which is good because now we could have, the Bears now they can cry over they lost their quarterback, right? Because ideally, Fields was supposed to be the guy. And I get it. I also feel like they should have kept him. They could have used that traded back. They could have done so many things with it, but they didn't. They stuck to their guns. They're like, listen, we're going to trade him. That's what it is. Now, how they were going to trade it is a different story, and we'll get into that because we all know how that trade went down, and it was not as pretty as what we really think it was. What's up, Derek? How are you? So yeah, it was crazy. So the Bears basically, they're like, all right, we're trading him. Fields kind of like you can see that vibe off of him. I think that he already knew before, like months in advance before, because you could just see like the body language and everything that it was just like, I'm not going to be with this team anymore. Like you just kind of see it and you kind of read it. So they did it anyways. So again, what did they do with that first pick? They got themselves Caleb Williams. Okay, and we'll get into him, like more detailed into him, the first round. And then they also had, which is crazy because Fields was also a first rounder. If you guys, remember, he was in 2021. He was the 11th round pick. Like, who does that? Nobody thinks about trading their 11th overall pick because he's supposed to be the guy. And money wasn't an issue. People say, oh, yeah, money was an issue. The fifth year, he's going to say they didn't trade him, right? They kept him. He balls out, does really good because everything they're doing for Caleb now should be done for Justin right now, right? That's ideally what's supposed to happen, but that didn't happen. In that universe, if Fields does good this year, supposedly still with the roster, right? And he does good. They're like, okay, they make the decision. Now they're in a bind. They're in a bind whether to keep him and pay him not, probably the same amount of money they probably would have paid Caleb anyways because he's a first rounder anyways. So it's like, do you keep him and how long do you extend him for? I think this what prevented them from actually doing it. They didn't want to put themselves in the bind. It's just a lateral move. That's all it is. It's a lateral move, assuming that Caleb does just as good as what Justin did last year or in the couple past years. If he does just as good as him, okay, which I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, Justin sucked and he did this and he's not that good. I disagree. He didn't have any weapons. He didn't have a line. He didn't really have anything much working for him. Like, if you give me Justin with Keenan Allen and DJ Moore and and DeAndre Swift, like, he didn't have this like Caleb did. He didn't have any of this. He just had DJ Moore, and that was it. And then Cole Kmet decided to come out of his shell after 2-3 seasons of being with him. Finally decided, okay, we have a giant freaking tight end over here that we just couldn't see until last year. So, it's just, there's a lot of things that could have gone their way. But I think, in my opinion, from what they're doing, it's just a lateral move. They're just starting off fresh. Hopefully Caleb does the same thing that Justin did, if not better, right? Because he's supposed to be the 101. He's supposed to do a lot better. So, with that being said, the Bears, they traded him away, and the Pittsburgh Steelers got away with the steal. Okay, they exchanged a 6th-round pick, a 2025 6th-round pick. Okay, which improves to a 4th round. Okay, that 6th round could be a 4th round if Fields plays more than 51%. But they were also smart. They're like, well, that's never going to happen because we also got Russell Wilson. And I don't want to talk too much Steelers because we're not talking about the Steelers today. We're talking about the Bears, okay? So it was smart on them, and yet that's not going to happen because Russell Wilson never gets hurt. And if he does, he's out there in crutches in a wheelchair, and he'll still play because he's never coming. I don't think that man knows how to get off the field. Like, the guy broke his finger, his throwing arm finger, by the way. I think it was his index or his pinky. I think it was the pinky, which guides the ball on how to throw, okay? The man didn't come off. He didn't come off. It's like, okay. But hey, what's up, Derek? No, we're doing good. We're just talking about Bears today. I'm doing a nothing but Bears episode today. And then tomorrow we're doing Washington. So again, if you guys are coming in late, here is my schedule for the rest of the time being. Um, the dates may or may not change due to life. Okay. This is this is supposedly my schedule. Okay. This is what I come up with. If the dates change, I will let you know, but I will readjust it and I will show you guys. Okay. So this is what's going to happen for the next 2 months because I am taking some days off and exactly how um you know, we're saying now the grind does begin. We're going to be doing this for quite some time, and OTAs are open. So we talk about more football as we do on Wednesdays and Sundays. We're talking about OTAs and all that. Yeah, the Bears exactly. So Chicago today, Chicago. So this is the most Chicago you'll get out of me. And I'm going to do every episode, and the most you'll get a single team out. Like I will hate on other teams specifically, except for the Bears for today. Tomorrow, I'll hate on all the other teams except for the Commanders, and then vice versa. Depending on what team I'm doing that day, f the other teams, right? So, again, as I was saying, Russell Wilson doesn't get hurt, so good on the Steelers. Now, mind you, that the Fields move did kind of like change everything, but they also had the additional ninth pick. Eventually, we all know what happened there. But you guys got to remember what they did on the offseason. The offseason, they brought in some pretty good assets. All right. They brought in a whole new team. It was Jake Corum, Brian Coart, Jake Martin, both sides of the ball, some D line, some O line. Guys, we forget about Dante Pettis. I know it's not anything special. I know it's not anything crazy, but he does bring some value to the fourth spot. Okay, because why? The third spot is going to be Rome Odunze. Let's just be clear. Like it's not going to be Dante. Dante Pettis might get some reps more just because he's been in the league longer, but we'll see. But obviously, Keenan Allen helps out a lot. Um, and then the addition to freaking another lineman, Coleman Shelton, and then DeAndre Swift, obviously, which I mentioned earlier. All of these assets are going to be very, very impactful to this roster, which is going to make one hell of an offense for Caleb Williams. And don't forget about Gerald Everett. Do I think he's going to start over Cole Kmet? No, I don't. I don't think so. But it does bring in extra talent. Like if they go double tight with DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, that's four talented bodies that you have to try and cover. And not to mention DeAndre is sitting back there like, hey, dude, you could just throw it to me if they're getting all blocked. Like it just happens. But on again, they brought in Jonathan Owens, who personally I like. I think he's a very good DB, and the fact that he came from the Green Bay Packers is just amazing. So, f you to the Packers, I guess. They also brought in Matt Pryor, who's also a good offensive lineman, and then we brought in Brett Ripien also, and then another DB that we also brought in was Kevin Byard, who also with Jonathan Owens and Kevin Byard back there is just amazing. You got three very good DBs because you got to think about they also re-signed Jalen Johnson. They extended him, so that's great. Like the Bears are doing what they need to do, and I know that some moves were like, why did we do it this way? Why are we doing it that way? It's a business, guys. It's overall they're trying to do what they got to do best, and overall, I don't like again. At the end of the day, I'm looking at Keenan Allen. I'm like that trade was crazy. Good for him. To me, he's always going to be a Charger. I don't care if he has a fantastic year and record-breaking numbers on the Bears. I don't care. The man spent 11 years with the Chargers. He's always going to be a Charger to me, no matter what. So exactly. And then Fields, we'll see if that pans out for him. They're not going to exercise his fifth year, so if he ends up as a Dallas Cowboy to next year, awesome. I don't know but that's another team. So, but let's talk about these first rounders or these picks, right? So, they went into the draft with basically 4 picks, right? I only had the 4, but they did have 5. They did make a move eventually for the first round. Obviously, Caleb Williams, um, is he going to start as rookie? Absolutely. He's going to be very effective. He's going to be coming in. Um, you know, what's going to be crazy is the past couple of years, it's been so detrimental that the bar has been set so low that if they suck and come back with another 7 wins or another 3 wins or 2 wins, whatever they did in the last couple of years, nothing's changed. Let's just put it that way. But they've made some moves. Caleb Williams should come in and have a pretty easy year, essentially, because the bar is set so low for them that anything he does positively, he's going to look like an all-star. It doesn't even matter. So it's good for them. And we'll look at the schedule. Honestly, guys, I haven't even freaking looked at the schedule. So we're gonna do this raw. Like I haven't done the schedule yet, and I should look at the schedule. But we're gonna go in, and I think Brian should be joining us by that point. I just didn't want him coming in too early because I had to give out my perspective on the team. But I think once we get to the roster, he'll kind of jump in. I think he's on his way home, but hey. So anyways, they got Caleb Williams. Like I said, the bar set so low, he should just come in and as the QB. The only issue is again they need to fix him under center. Um, he's never really been good under center. He's always been like a shotgun guy or something like that. So hopefully they fix that. Hopefully anything above was it 66% of accuracy from Justin Fields can be good. Like that's all he has to do, which is like 7 out of 10 times if he completes the ball, he's better than Justin Fields. That's what's sad about it. So again, that's what happens when you have no line, no weapons, no anything that works with you. So now you're giving a guy who has everything working for him. So coming out of USC, the kid should come in and have a really good year. But we'll see how that pans out for them because I'm not too sure. Schedule gets rough towards the end. I have a record prediction whenever we get to that point. Good. If you have to leave before we get there, go ahead, throw your record in. But if you're still sticking around, awesome. We are gonna do that together collectively, and we'll add it to the chart, and we'll make this giant preseason playoff. We were pretty close on playoffs. A few minor injuries kind of changed the way that playoff picture was, but that's how injuries happen. It changes things. All right, so moving on to the third round, Kyron Amendahi, an offensive tackle out of Yale. He's this is interesting pick. They needed it. I understand they needed it, but the end of last season, Ryan Poles believes that Jones is still going to be the guy, right? He's still going to be the tackle, but he didn't rule out everything about Jones like if like say if he sucks this offseason, right? Like he just can't protect Williams. It's not going to be too hard for Amendahi to come in and just take his spot because you could just move that line around. You still got Larry Borum there as well, so he's also probably a good asset there too. These three guys can just easily swing their way into that spot, and I think Williams is just going to be just fine. But essentially, I think Jones might be the guy, but Amendahi might be the guy. It could be a battle between these guys, but we'll see how it goes. Either way, this is going to be like the line's not going to suffer bringing him in. You're going to have some protection there, regardless of the fact of what Williams is going through. He's going to have protection. Like there shouldn't be any crazy like unless two of them go down, then maybe injuries are going to affect them. But outside of that, I don't think they're going to struggle too much compared to the last couple of years. But again, we'll see how that pans out. And then the fourth round, which is surprising to some people, Torrey Taylor, guys, this guy's awesome. Okay. This guy is awesome. I don't care what you say. I know a lot of people didn't like this pick at the fourth. They're like, oh, why would we use a fourth rounder on a punter? This guy's really good, guys. The issue is, are they going to be able to use him? If the offense clicks so much, are they like, let's just put it this way. If they find themselves in a bind, at least Taylor can put them in a perfect spot where the fact that they're not going to have to worry that they're going to have to like worry about the short end routes because the ball's going to be punted so far down and so accurately that it gives defense and enough time to work with that space, and then gives offense a breather when defense gets it back. So Taylor out of Iowa, look, I'm telling you right now, it's an amazing pick. I know it's the 4th round. Who cares? Get over it. He's good. I like him. And I think the Bears are going to really love him. This guy, it wouldn't surprise me in like 3 or 4 years we're going to start seeing his jersey fly around that stadium. So, what's up? He might be the best punter. Yeah. But yes, I agree. He might be using yeah. So yeah, and that's the thing. I also agree. So it wouldn't surprise me in like 4 years we see his jersey running around Chicago. All right. So, and then the Bear. I don't have the 5th pick, but the Bears did make a move in the 5th round. Um, they traded. It was like a Buffalo trade. They traded back to get Austin Booker, which is good because they needed defensive line help. So I think it was the trade, the center, which was the Buffalo traded Ryan Bates or something like that. Had a lot of like honestly, this guy, I watched him in the Senior Bowl, and he did pretty well. I don't think he's going to be anything short of a starter within a year or two. I think he'll find his way in eventually. Obviously, you got Garvin Dexter and Montez Sweat there. Um, and then Walker as well. So he'll find himself in there as well. Especially if they run the 4-3, he's going to be a very, very good asset there. He's only 21 years old, so he's going to find himself in there eventually. The only worry about is he didn't really start most of these games that he played through college. So I think he only had like 1 start. So that worries me a little bit, but this guy had like 12 to 13 sacks, high pressured, within those 12 games, or it's like 12 tackles for loss, I think it was. But how many sacks was it? I think it was 12 tackles for loss, and I think it was like 8, which is still high for not being a starter and in the 5th round. Again, if they need to swing him to the edge or outside linebacker, it's a possibility. He has the body for it. So again, good move on them. I'm not too worried about him either, but we'll see. But yeah, so that's what happened the last 3 years of the Bears. Overall, let's see how it pans out this year. We're about to get into the schedule, or not the schedule, but the roster. And then we're going to talk about how much of a value for Dynasty I'm going to take these guys as. We're going to do both offense and defense real quick. But obviously, Ryan Poles still general manager, as I was talking before. Matt Eberflus is still head coach. Shane Waldron, offensive coordinator, and then Eric Washington as their defensive coach. So let's bring on their roster here. I got somewhere, and we'll look into both the offense and defense. Let me see if you guys can see that. There we go. All right, that's a little bit easier. So yeah, so obviously Caleb Williams at the helm, starting right off the bat, and then you got he's throwing to DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and Keenan Allen. Those are 1, 2, and 3. And you got, again, Dante Pettis they brought in this year. So it's going to be a good four count right there with DeAndre, Khalil Herbert. It's going to be good. They have depth at these weapon pieces, which the Bears aren't used to having. They're not used to having depth. Let's just be honest. Like, as soon as their starter was done, we're done. The whole season's effed. We have nobody to replace our starting guy. We're done. They have guys. Brett Rippion's played before. He's not too bad. Let's just hope he doesn't get hurt. Caleb doesn't get hurt because Tyler Badgen's coming in. But outside that position, weapon-wise, they have depth, which is nice to have. Again, this line, Jones, Jenkins, Bates, and Davis, and right. Obviously, they're going to come in. Some of them are new faces to the line they brought in. That's okay, but they're veterans that they've played before. Larry Borum's obviously, who's probably going to be that swing guy in there as well, from as the sixth guy who's probably going to swing into one of these positions. But we'll see what Brian has to say when we talk about that, because I know he loves talking about this line. Those are his guys right there. So as for defense, Montez Sweat obviously brought in from Washington, and we know how that went. And then Jarvin Dexter, who should do good. I believe he's going to do good, but he's going to be a very valuable asset, but he's not going to be very good for like IDP, if that makes sense. If you do IDP, then you know what I'm talking about. Individual defensive players, I wouldn't go after someone like that, but Montez Sweat, obviously, TJ Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds, who I surprised the hell out of me. So I think those two guys just fit well together. They're going to fit well together. Jalen Johnson, Brisker, Bard, and Stevenson, Gordon. Like, the defense has always been good, and it's just been elevated. The only worst part about this is the defensive line, but again, it's not bad. The secondary is very good. So maybe next year they invest a little bit more into their line and a higher draft pick rather than the 5th round. So overall, for dynasty perspectives, if I'm playing IDP and if you're playing IDP dynasty, I'm going after Gordon. Byard, I don't care. No matter how old is he, still talented guy. Brisker, Johnson, those guys I'm going after. Edmonds and Edwards and Sweat on the defensive side, because they're going to be like, this team is going to be in their faces a lot. And if they're not in their faces, the secondary is going to be very, very good, to where they're going to give every quarterback trouble. Now, I'm not saying like top end guys like Patrick Mahomes would probably still pick them apart. I mean, just the guy's that good, but or Josh Allen, like those top tier quarterbacks. But for the most of the league, the secondary is very good. It's talented enough to disrupt to offenses. It's talented enough to knock off a receiver off their routes. And that's one thing that they should be thankful. Brisker is one of those guys. And as for offense, for dynasty purposes, you could probably get yourself Swift. Still, he's going to be productive. Look at the way they used Monty and Herbert. Like, no matter who's back there, it's a run heavy team. I think it's always still been like that. No matter who's changed, who's back there as the coach. Caleb, all these offensive pieces, I'm after. If I have a piece from these guys, I'm okay with this. This division is going to be very tough. All of these teams are elevating themselves to be the best, and it's crazy because they all sucked at the same time, and now they're kind of like growing together. Which, this could be my new favorite division for the next 2 years. There's always like a division I'm like really paying attention to, which I really, really love watching. This might be the one. Lions have doing some crazy moves to improve themselves. The Bears are starting to look like they're trying to take care of themselves. The Vikings, well, the Vikings are kind of there. All right, let's just say that. They're trying. They'll get there, but they're trying. And as for the Packers, well, they made us look like fools. They drafted, and they're like, yeah, why are you drafting that? Why are you doing this? And then sure enough, it turned out to be okay for them, and now they're like one of the bigger threats in the division. So it's going to be a fun division to watch. Again, this is what I have. This is basically, if you had no clue what the hell is going on with the Bears, I hope you're all caught up, because we're about to do the schedule. Brian should be coming in here soon. But overall, I'm not hating on this team like in the past couple of years. 2 years ago, as you asked me what about you would think about the Bears, I would say they suck. And which they did. Because they did. They sucked for the last 2-3 years. They couldn't get over 500. It's just like this year could be different. But again, we have to see it. The only thing I have to say is everything's new. Okay. Not everything clicks right away. Your new coworker that just got hired yesterday, don't tell me you know him or know her right away. You guys are gonna be right off the back moving production. Like it just doesn't happen. Things take time. Things take time to grow. Do I see this team growing together? Yes, it's very young. Now, if they could keep Swift, maybe if they could keep Keenan Allen for another year, maybe DJ Moore is going to be the one that after next year we don't know. But they have him for another year or so.
Yeah, 2 more years still.
Hey, what's up, man? Your voice scared the crap out of me.
I just jumped in.
Yeah, you did. So this team has potential if they stay together. But again, it's a business. Like I said, things happen, trades happen. Like this just
Oh, I
year,
mean,
the
you're
cap.
saying all the right things, Martin, because your fear is if Caleb Williams can't be the leader, no matter how much talent's out here,
Oh yeah.
they can fail horribly.
Exactly. But they hit everything they did. They did free agency. They did everything right. They drafted right, and they traded right. They're making moves to make things happen. I like what I see, but again, it needs to work. And if it doesn't work, there's nothing I really can't say that's
It will only be that Caleb Williams is not the dude. That would be the biggest problem. If
right.
he's that guy with the talent they have on that team, I
Mhm.
mean, they can make the playoffs this year. If
Right.
not, it's literally his fault. It's literally on him.
Basically. All right. So this is my first time looking at this schedule.
Man,
Okay. So
first half's great.
I haven't seen it, and I'm already looking at a few wins. Right off the bat. Indy might be interesting,
Good game.
but Tennessee, I don't believe they have what it takes right now. They don't even know who the hell they're going to throw because they've been drafting quarterback every year for the past 4 years. Houston may be a loss,
Yeah,
probably.
that's a tough game.
Indianapolis could be interesting. If they are healthy, Indy could be trouble.
They could be
But
a
I think the Bears
problem.
can still beat them.
I think you want to see play Indy earlier. You don't want to play them later. The later it gets, the better that team's going to be.
Yes, because they just like the Bears, they're still developing. Um, because they lost Rich pretty early in the season, like I think it was like week 7,
Yeah,
something like
7
that.
or 8, yeah.
So they missed basically the rest of the season without half the season. So
And they got
it
used to playing
sucks.
with him other than Gardner Minshew like they had
Mhm.
before.
Right. So they move on to the LA Rams, who honestly I don't know. I need to cut. I flip a coin because I don't know if they're good. I don't know if they're bad. Things happen with them. Like last year, we thought they were going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL,
And Puka
and
the
they're
cool
like,
team.
"No, screw you guys. I'm going home," because
But
they
then
had no
Aaron
part in it.
Donald just left. Probably a top 7 or 8 defensive player to ever play football is gone. Retired.
Yes. So Carolina's another win. Jacksonville probably another win. That one is in London though, so that one's going to be interesting. Because the Bears never traveled outside the U.S. before, so
Not recent, not for a while.
but yeah, so we got a 10-7 here. Okay. 10-7. Not bad, not bad. Okay. So we'll keep that in mind. This year we're adding chats predictions into our accounts. So we have a bye week at 7. I kind of don't like that. I wish it was like closer to 9 or 10. But 7, it could be worse at 5.
Mhm.
Uh, like that's it could be worse. So you got Washington, who I think you could probably beat. Arizona is going to be interesting. New England, I think you could probably beat. Giants, the Green Bay
Mhm.
Packers.
That's gonna be an interesting game. That's gonna be a very
That one's
interesting game.
another interesting. Minnesota, I think you could beat.
They win that game. Yeah.
Detroit, you're probably gonna lose. San Francisco, you're probably gonna lose. I'll say you split with Minnesota. I think
I
you get
think
swept by the Lions.
we split with them last year and the year before.
Mhm.
Yeah, we split with Detroit the last like 2 of the last 3 years. Just because we know each other very well. We play
Right.
similar styles. Minnesota, as much as I think we're better than Minnesota, I can see us still splitting. I'm almost at the point with the division that I just say 3-3. Honestly, I think this division is so good that we're just going to beat each other up.
I don't know about Lions. I still feel like Lions have developed sooner. They're more intact.
It depends on their DBs. If their DBs
That's true. That is very
play
true.
well, because if not, then we're going to pick them the hell apart. We
Right,
will
but they can
kill
also
them.
do the same to the Bears as well, though.
I think our DBs are much better than theirs.
That's true.
Yeah, like
But the
our defensive
offensive
excellence
weapons on the
are equal to
Lions,
ours. Are equal
they're
to ours.
faster, man. They're way faster.
I don't know, because I think so
I'm
definitely
not there ain't no way you're gonna cover Gibbs and freaking Amon-Ra. Like, ain't no way. Like, just no.
you know, I'm more worried about St. Brown. Yeah, St. Brown is a problem. But DJ Moore's a problem for them. You know, Rome
Yeah.
Dunze is a problem.
Yeah.
You know, Swift is a problem, especially playing against his old team.
Right.
So that all those are going to be issues. I feel like somehow we end up splitting, but last year we almost won both games.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this: I think Detroit won 12 games. I think they win 12 or 13 games this year. So I think that's a better team even than last year.
So you're saying 13
for Detroit, yeah.
Oh, for
No,
Detroit.
for us, no, we're no for us.
I'm gonna say 8.
10.
I'm gonna say 8.
Well, Vegas has an 8.5.
I see 8. You guys say 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then split in the division. That's 10. Yeah, I'm 10. And Seattle might be. You never know. Seattle might be a win. It could be a loss. But I put it on the loss side just because I think Seattle is going to be in the playoff hunt. I put, of course, San Francisco. Even though we've won before, I think they're going to kill us. So that's what But I think as we split in the division, New England, I think we win because you have to remember how bad they were, and they're not being coached by Belichick anymore. Arizona, we destroyed last year, even with Kyler. Kyler came back and we destroyed him. Marvin Harrison Jr. scares me, except for the fact that we have 4 DBs back there.
Right.
So, so I think Washington, Arizona, New England is a 3-game winning streak. Jacksonville, I say we probably pull out late. Carolina, we win. I say one of the Indians or Rams, we win. One of them. We lose against Houston, and we beat Tennessee.
Okay.
But there's some teams you just know are better than you, and you just gotta let it go.
I'm still gonna stick to my guns and leave it at 8. And you guys say 10, and we'll meet in the middle at 9.
That's a good middle.
We'll leave it at 9. I see Tennessee, and I see, because it's the beginning of the season, Indianapolis. Also, the beginning of the season, LA Rams. Like, those 2 teams are dysfunctional at the beginning of the season. Like, you guys come in very strong after the London game, and then maybe you guys started off again with Washington. Like, you guys have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games right there that I see.
We can go 5-1, and no one will be surprised.
Right. But then here's where it gets a little bit weird. I think you guys split with Green Bay, and you guys get swept by Detroit, and you guys split with Minnesota, and you lose to Seattle. This is why I'm giving you guys 8.
Okay, but then we beat Washington, Arizona, and New England.
I don't know. Arizona, I don't know.
Arizona, we destroyed them, and they don't have anything.
I've seen Arizona do some weird things in that stadium. Listen, I'm going to go to that game.
Oh, I can't wait.
Because you know what happens when I go to these games. I root for the other team, and for some reason, Arizona just loves to upset me. This is what happens. Look, I don't know what it is, but I think Arizona is going to pull it off that game because it's Sunday afternoon.
The only way we lose these games is if Caleb Williams throws too many interceptions. And I feel like Kyler Murray and Caleb Williams are the same guy. So that's why I kind of like putting
but
Sam to
Kyler
sleep.
Murray is developed, and he has one of the best,
No, he does
essentially one
not.
of the
His
best
receiving
receivers.
core is nothing compared to our receiving core.
Just saying.
You know,
I'm just saying. All that man needs is one good player. Now, we've seen it many years.
He has one good one.
He's always had one good one. Larry Fitzgerald, D-Hop. It don't matter who it was. And then Hollywood Brown. If you gave him one good receiver, the man would scramble for his life to get open and make it happen.
There's
There's
they
something
do that
special about
with
it.
one guy, Jalen Johnson had the lowest catch rate against anyone in all defense last year. No one caught the ball against Jalen Johnson last year. It was like under 27%.
Mm-hmm.
So one-on-one, if he's the man, if he's the one guarding you, you're not going to have a great game, and they're going to slant all your safeties to it. You know, so Kevin Byard is probably going to be there with him.
You got to remember, Trey McBride is just as good, though.
Yeah, and that's why you got Brisker.
I don't see them pulling off. We will see. November 3rd. I'll be excited to watch that game because it's going to be here in Arizona. I'll probably go to that one, to be honest. Just because it's an afternoon game and I can still do the show that day.
Mm-hmm.
So I like those later games for me. I can always just attend them right after the show. Like after the show on Sunday morning, I just go
and enjoy being there. Man, I don't know. I might have to make a visit to one of these games.
I mean, all I know, every single time I've left Arizona Stadium, I enjoy the game. It's one hell of a game. But for some reason, I always leave disappointed. Either I root for the Cardinals or I root for the other team. Somehow I leave disappointed.
Root for the Cardinals, and
we'll see. But I'm gonna leave it at we'll leave it at 9. Last year we made a giant freaking, again, if you guys are new, I'll show you last year's, if I still have it somewhere. We made a giant playoff prediction of all the teams that turned out to be our playoff picture. I have the playoff picture one here, but here it is. This is what it kind of looks like. If it loads up. We'll do something similar to this. Let me get this out of the way. We have their records. So I'm going to clear all this out and we'll leave it at 9. We'll leave it the same. Because right now all this has to go. I'll leave that one right now. And we'll just clear all these out because this is what we had from previous years. But I'll clear that at 9 and we'll put the new records, and then eventually we'll have our playoff seeding. And here's this one. I'll show you that one as well, which wasn't too far off. It really wasn't too far off. I was actually impressed on how well we did.
Houston,
Texas. We did that before.
But I was that guy that said Houston, Texas would be better. And that was the only one that kind
of... we had this, if Aaron Rodgers had played. Unfortunately, Aaron Rodgers didn't play, so the Jets kind of screwed up that entire bracket right there, like the whole bottom half. So that's what we did. And the year before, we were almost spot on as well, but we didn't have any proof. So last year we're like, let's just have proof and do it this year. So this is why we do these episodes. But bear down, guys. Look, all I'm gonna say is right now, they could look very good, but keep in mind that the Lions are also doing moves, and the Packers are very young.
Packers are still out there, And
Packers are very young, and they're very good too. Like,
Jordan
you
Love,
guys are growing.
I hate Jordan Love already. He's good. We have some good ass quarterbacks in this division.
This division could be one of my favorites watching in the next couple seasons if the Bears actually do pretty good. So, Brian, thank you for coming in. Thank you for not interrupting me while I know you were watching. And
you had some good points too. I just said, you know what? Those are some good points. Even though I will tell you, Tyler Scott will be your 4th receiver. Dante Pettis will be your return guy.
All right. Well, it definitely isn't going to be Velus Jones. I can tell you.
Oh, hell no. He can't catch a cold.
So, again, there's I just want to say that I think in the future it looks good. I want to think that it's going to be tough. I do. I think next year you guys go after a running back, maybe, because I think that Roshan Johnson's going to be eventually more of a valuable asset. I know DeAndre is a nice asset. Like, that's a nice pickup. You know you have a running back, but he's not going to be there forever. I think Roshan's going to come up, do his thing. I think he's going to be the next guy. I think you guys get another a running back next year, another D line for sure. I think D line's probably main priority here
I
next
actually
year.
think they signed someone in the this offseason at defensive end. I didn't even bring back someone who was here last year to return.
Maybe. We'll see. But again, that's the future. Let the Bears deal with that. That's their problem. But right now, we're going to leave it at 9. Because this is one of the beginning teams, things happen within the next 2 months. We always revisit the beginning teams. For some reason, we always come back and change. So there might be another Bears episode. Just solely just the Bears, where I just kind of discuss the team individually. So the fact that Brian's here is actually wasn't supposed to happen. I was supposed to do this earlier, but things happened, so he snuck his way in this.
Jump in, guys. I was like,
Yeah. But guys, tomorrow I'm going to be doing Washington. And thank you for your 10-7 that bumped it up to 9. Otherwise, no, because you had 10, right?
that's the 2.
Yeah, we still would have been at 9 anyways. So, but yeah, guys, if you guys are ever in the other episodes and you guys want to talk about that team, please feel free to give me your records. It's going to be chat based, and like we're going to be a collective unit to see where we are. Last year it was myself and Mark, for majority of the time, with Brian's input every now and then, and we were pretty close. I think we had chat decide maybe on 2 of them, but that was closer to playoffs. So, but again, guys, tomorrow we're doing Washington. I will come on earlier, hopefully. If not, I'll probably be on the same time, but we'll see. But then I'm going to be back Saturday. Yeah, we're going to do Saturdays. All right, I'll be doing those Saturdays. The guys can jump in on those Saturday episodes if they want. They don't have to, but then we'll be back on Monday, because Sunday we have our morning spike, and then Monday I'll be doing the Cardinals, the Chargers, New York Giants, Titans. Then I'm going to take a day off just because I wanted to. Or actually, no, I got military duties. That's why. So on the 3rd, after the Falcons. So that's right now. Okay. Football every day for this channel. We are
best time. Best time of year
during the offseason. I don't understand. People are like, "Oh, you don't have a lot." No, trust me, we do a lot more in the offseason than we do in season. So again, thanks guys for watching. And Chicago, best of luck. Hopefully 9 wins basically sneaks you in. Maybe you could do something in playoffs. All right. Later, guys. Thanks for watching.
Getting hype when I aim up, elevating that game up, stepping up to the competition. Only first place, and that's how I'm living. I'm winning till they digging up my grave, eating all the things up on my plate. Game face when I step up in the place. I was born and when I watched me elevate. When I watch me elevate.